Hey everyone, Spider-Man 1991 here, and by the time you're watching this video, we will be less than a year away from the next X-Men movie, X-Men Apocalypse. Here's some story ideas that I want to shoot out to you guys just to make sure you understand, just to give you an idea about what could happen in Age of Apocalypse and help prepare you a bit for the movie when it comes out next year. The first story I'm going to recommend is, well, it's not really a full recommendation. I mean, I would say read this story if you're interested in Apocalypse after, getting yourself prepared on some other stories, but I don't think it's necessary for the movie, mostly because it's an alternate reality story. Age of Apocalypse. Now this is, I'm not bad-mouthing it or anything, it's cool. It's a really cool idea. Basically, the idea was Charles Xavier died before forming the X-Men, and Magneto formed the X-Men, while at the same time Charles died, Apocalypse decided to kickstart his plans for global domination earlier and has taken over the world. I really don't fully recommend it because, well, like I said, it's an alternate reality, and plus, I don't think that we're going to deal with. The movie will probably feature more of the rise of Apocalypse, and they're not going to kill Charles Xavier again, but and this will feature the First Class X-Men, so we're going to have to deal with Magneto and Charles Xavier, and I think they're both going to team up in order to stop Apocalypse, because Apocalypse mainly wants to annihilate all humans, and he's basically a huge guy who's obsessed with evolution and believes that only the strongest will survive, and that's what he wants to build his empire on, only the strongest available mutants that are out there. So really, Age of Apocalypse, I don't fully recommend it, but I do think it's something that people should check out. I mean, at least once. It's been reprinted the original Age of Apocalypse has been reprinted, I think, at least in 4 trade paperbacks, as well as an omnibus. Plus, the Age of Apocalypse universe did return during Rick Remender's X-Force series, and it's also going to be one of the titles Marvel is launching as part of Battle World for Secret Wars. So honestly, Age of Apocalypse, I would recommend it if you just want to read more about Apocalypse, or if you want to know more about Blink, who, by the way, this was the story arc where they actually made the awesome version of Blink appear from Days of Future Past, so check that out. Alright, now that I got that mild, brief, non-fully recommendation out of the way, let's get into some stories that I can actually recommend. First off, what I'm going to recommend is actually a collection of X-Factor issues, and it's part of the larger X-Men event known as Fall of the Mutants. Basically, this took place during when X-Factor was just the original 5 X-Men. Cyclops, Marvel Girl, Beast, Iceman, and Angel, although at the time, Angel is believed to be dead after his wings were amputated, and he supposedly committed suicide by crashing his private plane. And this is the story arc that revealed that Warren survived, and he was taken by Apocalypse, and Apocalypse pretty much made Warren a deal. He'll restore his wings as long as he submits to his control fully, and Warren agrees to it. He gets metallic wings, and his skin turns blue, and he's one of Apocalypse's horsemen, known as specifically Death, and is known as Archangel, and he's brainwashed into completely serving Apocalypse. Now, during Fall of the Mutants, X-Factor is pretty much confronted by Apocalypse, who finally unleashes his 4 horsemen across the United States. Well, first with across New York, and he makes a big attack on New York, and X-Factor is the only one that can stop him, and they go after him, and while they fight him, they discover that Death is Warren, and they're trying to get Warren to break out of his control. Also, when X-Factor gets captured, they're betrayed by their new member, Caliban. Caliban's mutant ability has just been to just search and track down mutants. That's it. Up until this point, Caliban has been feeling like pretty much like a useless member of the team, and when he finds out that what Apocalypse did to Angel, he immediately switches sides to Apocalypse to work for him in exchange for more power. And of course, Apocalypse accepts that because, well, Apocalypse is very manipulative. Basically, this is a good story arc because it shows what Apocalypse is willing to do in order to achieve his goals. He's able to manipulate people, find them when they're at their weakest, and then use them in order to further his ultimate plans of domination. Also, Archangel some concept art leaked for the movie, and Archangel will be in Apocalypse. People are saying this will be Warren, but we saw him in X-Men 3, although that movie is no longer canon thanks to Days of Future Past. But maybe it will be Warren, maybe it won't be. But we have Archangel in the movie, so I think that's good. I really think Warren's transformation is definitely something that played a lot into the whole overall character of Apocalypse, because like I said, he's very manipulative, and he will find mutants when they're at their weakest in order to empower them up in order to help him achieve his goals. Okay, this X Factor issues that I do mention, though, that's only one part of this. You don't need to get this giant hardcover. I only got it because I wanted to read the full Fall of the Mutants effect. If you just want to get the X Factor issues, don't worry. You can this story arc, Fall of the Mutants, is actually available in 2 trade paperbacks, and Volume 2 has all the X Factor issues, so you can read those in order to get this awesome Apocalypse story arc. The next story arc I'm going to recommend is kind of a big one because it's split into 2 volumes. X-Men vs. Apocalypse, the 12. Well, the first volume is called the 12. The second one is called Ages of Apocalypse, but however, it's all treated as one story arc known as the 12. Basically, 12 mutants are abducted by Apocalypse, and they're pretty much and they're abducted so that Apocalypse can absorb their powers, and so he can achieve godhood that could rival the Celestials. And during the whole event, we learned that the reason Apocalypse wears his giant set of armor is because his physical form is actually is fully deteriorated. Like Cable busts open the armor, and suddenly we see Apocalypse, and he's like this really withered thing, and of course Apocalypse now wants to achieve godhood so he can restore himself, and he almost does possess, and when that doesn't work, Apocalypse almost transfers his consciousness to possess Cable, but fortunately Cyclops gets in the way and they merge together. And eventually this leads into the miniseries in the second volume, The Search for Cyclops, where Cyclops is pretty much in hiding, and he's trying to repress Apocalypse, but it's not working, and it's up to Cable and Jean Grey to find him and destroy Apocalypse once and for all. Okay. This story arc really explored a bit more of Apocalypse's characters and his lust for power. Again, I mean, obviously the guy does have a lust for power because his main goal is to basically force the world to evolve in a way. Like I said, he has a survival of the fittest ideal where he only believes that the strongest should survive, and everyone else who's weak should just die. Also, I want to point out that the Death Horseman for this story arc was actually Wolverine. So that's something interesting that should get people to read this. Do I think Wolverine's going to be one of the Horsemen in the movie? No, I really don't think we're going to see not much of Hugh Jackman in the movie. But anyways, yeah, the 12 was a very interesting story arc. There were 12 mutants that were... At first it was believed that the 12 that this prophecy was really old. It was first believed that this was just an ancient prophecy that was originally predicted that would be in the final battle with Apocalypse. However, it turns out the prophecy was designed by Apocalypse himself so that he could get the mutants together and use their powers just to make his job a lot easier. So yeah, overall I would say X-Men versus... although this story does get a little weird because after Apocalypse does possess Cyclops, he does kind of alter reality and try to find one, hence the title of the next book, Ages of Apocalypse, before reality is set back. So honestly, I would say just get the first, if you can find the first volume, though unfortunately is kind of hard to find. I would say that if you do find the first volume, probably just get the first volume if you can, read it, and if you like it, then continue with volume 2. Otherwise, if you don't like volume 1, then you can just skip volume 2. And I'm pretty sure the Search for Cyclops is available digitally. Okay, and those are my story recommendations for X-Men Apocalypse. Thank you for watching this video. What stories did you guys think I left out, leave them in the comments below. Also, do you like these videos I'm doing? I'm trying to make videos for comic book movies that are coming out where I can recommend stories and try to do it a year in advance, because I feel like that would be enough time for anyone who's looking for any stories featuring the characters, that this would give them enough time between before the movie comes out that they can find the books and actually read them before they go see the movie. So if you guys think that, if you guys like these videos, let me know, and I'll keep doing this later in the summer, closer from when Suicide Squad comes out. I do have some stories for that video planned. Again, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing to my channel, whether you're an old subscriber or a new subscriber. I appreciate your support. I'm Spider-Man 1991 saying, see you later.